For men who have been rescued from shipwreck, there will always be the memory of the ordeal through which they passed. But they will also look back with gratitude to the men who challenged the sea's fury and who came to their aid regardless of their own safety, to the men of the lifeboat service, to whom this film is dedicated. Early in the morning of 3rd January 1964, the Ben Barvas left her home port of Aberdeen en route for the Icelandic fishing grounds. The Ben Barvas was a comparatively new ship, a diesel trawler of some 300 tons, capable of a speed of 11 knots and in first-class condition. Her route lay northwards, roughly parallel to the coast towards Buchaness and Rattray Head, and then across the open waters of the Murray Firth in a general northwesterly direction towards Duncansby Head on the northeast point of Caithness and at the entrance to the Pentland Firth. The Pentland Firth lies between the Orkney Isles to the north and the northern mainland of Scotland, and it is the main shipping route round the north of Britain. The Firth average is about 8 miles in width, and the coasts on either side are rocky and precipitous, forming a narrow channel through which the sea continually ebbs and flows from the North Sea to the Atlantic. The tides are strong and fast, and the rocky islands, although picturesque in themselves, interrupt the flow of the sea, causing numerous currents and eddies with powerful tide races and dangerous tide rips during bad weather, and these give rise to confused, surging seas and broken water. Across the eastern end of the Firth lies a small group of islands, the Pentland Skerries, a notorious hazard and the graveyard of many fine ships. And when the weather deteriorates, and the combined effect of strong tides and high winds makes the Firth dangerous for shipping, heavy breaking and surging seas sweep over the jagged reefs of the Skerries with tremendous force. At the southern end of the island of Hoy lies the farming and fishing community of Longhope, with its important lifeboat station. The community is scattered, part of it lying along Longhope to the north, and being connected by a causeway to the district of Brims to the south. Most of the lifeboat crew live in Brims, and it is here, on sheltered 8th Hope, that there has been a lifeboat station for 90 years. The station is only a few minutes sailing from the Pentland Firth. Through the years, in storms and heavy seas, ships of many nations have had good reason to thank the lifeboat service. The weather was not bad when the Ben Barvas left her home port, but the shipping forecast from the coast radio station indicated deteriorating weather conditions in the north of Scotland later in the day, with winds rising to gale force. This meant dangerous conditions in the Pentland Firth, with strong tides backed by rising winds, and then heavy surf and breakers along the coast, on the islands, and over the reefs. The trawler's skipper and his crew of 13 were competent and experienced seamen. They had done the trip many times before, and there can have been little thought of possible disaster as the ship approached the Firth, well south of the Skerries. And so, approaching the Firth, the ship came under the combined influence of the strong tides and rising winds, with their insidious effects on navigation. The Ben Barvas continued on her general northwesterly course, with Pentland Skerries ahead on her starboard bow. The Skerries arise from a shallow plateau of rock, with the larger Muckle Skerry to the north and the low-lying Lowther, Cletach and Little Skerries to the south, and with a connecting chain of deadly submerged reefs. The Ben Barvas was a powerful ship, used to bad weather going to and from the fishing grounds, and the stronger tides in the Firth at first appeared to cause her little trouble. But the heavy surf was now breaking over the low-lying reefs as the trawler plowed on through rising seas. Her intended route would have taken her well south of the Skerries, but the effect of the powerful tide and strong winds acting on her since she approached the Firth had driven her slowly off course towards the Skerries. And the continuing surge in the Firth, with the power of the Atlantic behind it, drove the trawler further off course until the Skerries lay dead ahead. In heavy seas, low islands and reefs are not easy to see, often until it is too late, and the momentum of a 300-ton ship at full speed is too great to turn quickly against the combined force of sea and wind. And so, late in the day, the Ben Barvas surged relentlessly on, defied all efforts to turn her before disaster, and with a rending crash struck the little Skerry and heeled over. Kirkwall Coast Guard picked up the distress call. The Coast Guard informed the Honorary Secretary at Longhope, who then requested the Coast Guard to inform the casualty that the Longhope Lifeboat would launch immediately and to obtain a bearing of the wreck from the Muckle Skerry Lighthouse. A check by Decker Navigator placed her near the south end of the Little Skerry. At Longhope, 2 Maroons were fired, a time-tested procedure to summon the lifeboat crew. From their homes scattered along the shore, the crew answered the call. Within minutes of the firing of the Maroons, on foot and by car, they were arriving at the boathouse. In any lifeboat call, speed is essential, and at all lifeboat stations, everything is geared for a quick muster of the crew and launch of the lifeboat. Inside the boathouse, everything is always ready. The oilskins, life jackets, and sea boots, and the lifeboat facing the sea and ready to launch. And within 10 minutes of the Coast Guard's call, the Longhope Lifeboat was on her way to the wrecked Ben Barvas. Down sheltered 8th Hope and out into the Pentland Firth. The southerly wind was rising, and there was a heavy southerly swell. Excellent radio contact was maintained with Kirkwall Coast Guard, and messages were exchanged with Ben Barvas, giving the lifeboat's expected time of arrival. The lifeboat carried the stream flood tide with her, making over 11 knots. She cleared the rough waters of the Tarf of Swona and sailed to the east towards the Skerries. The tide was now setting to the southeast at about 8 knots, and with the rising wind from the southwest, the southerly seas were getting very steep. The approach to the wreck was not going to be easy.